Hello, I've been doing some tests with like Gen AI stuff inside Nuke lately. So here's a demo shot I did. Here is the original plate, and here are the added elements. So basically there's the bridge that is now a bit in a bad shape, and then there's the forest fire, and then the glasses on the man. I think like the bridge one is something that would be fairly straightforward to do also without any AI tools. But then the forest fire is actually something that would be fairly difficult to achieve using like any other methods. And then also, of course, then the funny glasses I added here is another one thing that might be like fairly complex task to achieve with just traditional tools. So let me walk you through this, how I made this happen. What I did actually first is I did a roto of these guys using a ByRefNet like roto model. For that, I did a animated crop of these actors so that it's just easier for the model to understand what we are doing here. It's quite nicely like done, the hair and the motion blur bits and all the details with the backpacks and so on. So yeah, really happy with this. And of course, like this is pretty much something that you can find also in the category, the Foundry's own AI models, like, and there's plenty of other AI roto tools, but I think like the ByRefNet is actually definitely the best you can find at the moment. So yeah, basically there's like a pipe with the foreground actors going through over the other background elements, but let's go through the background elements one by one. So for the bridge, I first just frame holded one frame, and then I did a crop, which is basically just the area that we want to modify. And then I have another node for Nano Banana, which is the Google's image generation and editing model out there. I had a simple prompt of make the bridge look slightly destroyed, and that basically gave me these type of things. And what you can also notice right away here is overall, like AI models are crappy at preserving the defocus or the noise or anything like that. So even comparing these, this is the original frame, which is like kind of like naturally in defocus. And if you give this to an AI model, it will sharpen it, you know. And that actually is a nice thing for compositing, as you can basically get a nice clean frame in focus, which you can then defocus inside your comp. So then I actually did the comp with this frame, which I first chose, which was kind of like nicely slightly destroyed. But then I thought that yeah, actually I want something more, so I did this another prompt that was make the bridge look destroyed, not slightly anymore. So I got these frames. One other thing that it's not gonna preserve the grade completely, like, or perfectly. You might like prompt it to keep the colors as they are or something like that, keep the brightness, keep the contrast. But I think like usually it's just good to just prompt what you want to see, and then you mostly still need to do some type of like manual adjustment. So I basically had just a grade to match the grade to the original. And yeah, then I have like the transformation to compensate the cropping, and then defocusing, reformatting to the original plate, and then I have my it's like a 3D tripod track corner pin that I then track it back onto the plate like this. And this is actually really fast, like computation wise, really fast way to work, because you only generate a still image from the AI rather than anything moving. So it's really fast to generate even like 10 versions of something using something like Nano Banana. And then if you can handle the match moving part inside your comp, it's really lightweight and fairly like flexible to work in this like kind of like matte painting style workflow, but with AI. So the next thing I wanted to add more action into this shot was the forest fire seen here in the background. So for that, I again frame holded the first frame, did a crop to kind of select where I want to do things. And again, I used the Nano Banana still generation, giving this frame as the base, and then having a prompt of add forest fire. And I generated 4 frames. So basically 3 out of 4 of these were a bit not that nice. It kind of changed too much, or then the whole atmosphere was like this really hellish looking, and also like the positioning of the fire was a bit off. But then the one of these which I had kind of chosen here was really nice. But this is still image. So how did I end up with the moving version here with the flames and the smoke moving? First, I basically did a reformatting to vertical full HD, because that's what my chosen video generation model wants. And as I did this reformatting, I had the stretches on the top and the bottom because of the cropping. So then I did another pass with Nano Banana saying just fix the stretching on top and bottom, and ending up with these. And the first one was better, I think. So then I chose that one. And then to get like nice control on the video generation, I wanted to have like a start frame and end frame to give to the video model. So I did again another pass with Nano Banana saying make me a version of this photo taken 10 seconds later. So then it basically tried its best. It was not perfect, but it was actually okay, just to have some version to be able to create a believable like end frame from this frame, as this would be my starting frame, and then basically this would be the end frame. So only the smoke and fire should be moving. And why I end up doing it like this, not only giving the start frame but also the end frame, is because that's the most certain way to guide the video generation model not to move the camera, because that's like really common that if you just generate a video, there's gonna be any like random camera movements and motion that you don't really want in your this type of like stock footage. And then I also add a tiny bit of distortion just to give it more life. And then I basically had this the end frame and start frame again into this new custom node, which is the LTX node. LTX is basically the best open source video generation model out there at the moment. And I just copied the same prompt, forest on fire, set the duration to 10 seconds, and it can generate even like 4K footage, but for this it was totally enough to just have the 1080p vertical like this. And then it basically gave me this footage. Before it's a bit laggy here. Again, like through the AI pipe, the colors are a bit mismatched, but you just need to a manual fix for that. So then just like blurring and putting it in the right place, defocusing, and doing the same match move as with the bridge as well. And then that's then on top of our plate here. And then with the glasses, because that was also kind of like just a random funny idea that, yeah, this would be a bit hard to do, especially with all the splashes, all the movement, the occlusion with the hand. I started with the plate. I did some like really loose stabilization first, and then I just did some like compensating with the scaling, so that it would be a bit like the same sized throughout the shot. And this is all for helping the AI model to do its job better. And then I did a crop and some extra stabilization so that we would have like really smooth kind of clip to give the AI. It's like this. And then again, I used first, before generating the video, I used frame hold and my nano banana, add funny sunglasses to do the man. And I asked for 4 images, and here are the the different variations. I liked this the best, gave those to the model, and ended up with this. And again, like looking at this, it's not perfect. There are weird things, like weird things, basically all types of weirdness happening, and it does not really like preserve the hair and the defocus and everything already kind of discussed. So what I did was, again, like manually blurring it, grading it to match the original plate, then creating a mask from the red color with keyer node, then eroding it larger and using that as my mask to actually overlay the image, the classes, the image of the classes on top of the head plate. And then again doing the stabilization like backwards, so that I will have my plate, the generated plate, moving like it was moving originally, and then adding a motion blur, like, which was again like super important to make the effect at all believable. Here's one without motion blur, then the motion blur basically sells the sells the whole thing, as it always does. So basically that's the whole thing. I'm just fairly certain that this is gonna be something like how the compositing will look more and more in the future. And I'm fairly certain that something like this, with this level of control, this level of like artistic decision making, it's not gonna happen without the skills of traditional compositing. So I'm kind of fairly happily at the moment just like going with the flow and using these tools as tools.